Right folks, next video. Thanks for joining us again. Okay, we're going to take apart some of these credit card machines, okay, debit card machines. These have been handed in by a couple of businesses and they're just US now, okay. They don't work, they're not absolutely knackered, so we'll take them off their hands and we'll get them stripped down, okay. I've never stripped some of these down before, so it'll be fun trying to do so. After we've got these done, got this little router there, or whatever it might be, fax modem. Then we've got some of these old style phones we're going to take apart and show you inside then. That's a very old handset, that one. We'll take that apart as well. Just odds and ends, little bits and bobs. So while I'm working on this pile here on camera, again, Ben, say hello.
Hello.
There he is. Hi Ben.
Hiya.
There you go. He's working on stuff next to me as well. So we're going to take this apart just now. Got some hex screws in there. I don't have the right bit on me, so I'm going to use a little, we've got this little, you can see it's bent. This little straight head here. It's been bent before, see? It does the job. Get these hex screws out. So, never fear, if you've not got the right hex bit, find a straight bit that fits inside the slots. Does the job. Okay, and we'll get this one out. There we go. Get them out eventually. Take the terminal off. You can all see, I had a feeling there'd be a fair bit of gold inside these. These machines usually do, from my experience. I've not taken these apart, but I've taken similar kind of bits of equipment apart, and there's always seems to be quite a bit of gold pins, like mobile phones, old phones, Nokias and stuff like that. Telecommunication devices. There's a bigger hex on this one. I do have the bigger hex. I'll take that out in the screw bin. So there's always going to be gold pins, gold plates and stuff like that. So you usually get good high yield gold in some of these machines. And again, because they're small boards, we'll probably keep them to ourselves and then eventually get them into the workshop for gold recovery. Little plastic straight head screws here. Turn them aside, hopefully that'll just pop off. Yep. Okay, get rid of that. There's the connectors that's inside these. Show you them close up in a second, so I'll pop them out. That's the connectors that's inside those machines, okay? Again, full of gold pins, which we do recover ourselves, okay? Nice close up. See all those gold pins on there. We'll recover all those ourselves, and that connects to this side of it, sorry. It connects to this, okay? So we've got all the gold pins out of that as well. We'll get that opened up. Probably take a hammer or the Dremel to that, open it up and get the gold out of that as well. Okay. Now, so what else have got to go here? We need another couple of hex screws here, get them removed. So if you've watched our other video of those old credit card machines getting done, these are the new credit card machines, old and new. Okay, I can't get that popped open, so I'm just going to force it. There we go. That's that opened up. Just scrap, plastic, pin, screw bin, plastic. Okay. You can see all the gold that's on that board there. Okay, got the battery at the side, come in handy. So we'll just get that board out of there. Take that little hex, is it hex? Hex out of there. So if you've seen the old ones that we've done, it's the same day. We've just moved on to these. We've had a clean up. We've sorted the boards out and we've just moved on to these newer ones. So big capacitor there. Lots of gold to recover off this board. Plastic cover. Get that. See that gold there? Gold plate. Nice big bit of gold plate. So we're definitely going to keep this for our own gold processing. Big monolithic capacitors there. Okay, so keep those. Keep the chips. I can't remember the name of that, so please comment. It's got the gold trim. Please leave a comment with the name of that if you want to. Gold pins out of there, and then the board will gold pins out there, and the board will then get processed for gold recovery as well. So definitely keep that. There's a lot more. You can see the gold in there as well. Okay, so there's a lot more to come out here yet. Just have to figure out how to get it out. Okay, it is scrap, so take the edges off. There we go. No point being too gentle with it. Yeah. Keep the LCD, always keep those, come in handy. As I said earlier on in the previous video, we'll keep those. They do come in handy for repairs. What's in there? Okay, nothing much in there at all. Okay, and then there's this. Let's pull that cable out. Gold trim on the cable, so again that gets kept in the gold recovery. If I can get into this, there's a little, is that a motor or capacitor? I think it's a tiny little copper bare motor in there. I don't think there's anything else. There's a little board in there. I'm pretty sure there's gold trim in there. So get in with a screwdriver, give it a wedge open. Hopefully. There we go. If in doubt, pull it out. Now, this is new, never done one of these before, so I'll just break into this as best we can. No, there's no gold in there. I thought there might be, but there's not. Okay, there's no gold in there, but there is gold on that, so we'll keep that. Okay, tiny little copper bare motor there with a brass end. Okay, and then this here. Okay, so we're definitely going to get this processed as well. Let's take that piece of plastic off it. There's gold recovery in there, underneath all that plastic. Get rid of it. Okay. Copper headed pins, by the look of it, instead of gold, there's gold in there. There's those flat packs in there, there's all those lovely bits of jubblies in there. And then there's all this gold plate on the back with all the IC chips, so we're definitely going to process that. And then of course we're just left with that. Okay, that goes in the bin. Nice and simple. So, slightly different model here, Phillips head. Let's see if we can get one big enough. Can I borrow that, Ben? It was rhetorical anyway, that's fine.
I thought I'd work that one out myself.
That's fine then. So we'll give this, it's not the best Phillips head on there for these screws, but and I've just lost it. Hey, great fun. Means I get to change it, I suppose. See if that works any better. Nope. Ah, the joys, the joys, the joys of not finding all the right tools that we need for the job. Now, I lost that one. Don't know where it went. Fell up this rubbish pile somewhere. There it goes. Change the screwdriver out. Adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. Try and get the last of these screws out, tiny little ones. To give it a little bit of pressure there, get in there and unscrew it. They are in there quite tight, I must admit. Not the easiest to try and wedge out there. Get in there though. It's the first time ever doing these machines, never done them before. Same as the older ones in the other video, I've never done them before either, so it's a first out of a lot of things to do. Get these out. You can see the gold pins in there, just attach that power cable, the gold pins in there as well, we'll keep that. There's a screw in here, underneath the battery terminal cover, so we'll get that out. And hopefully we can get it opened up and see what we get. Definitely, I would expect another board in there with some gold plating on it, and some more gold pins no doubt. Pretty much standard I think in these. Right. Doesn't want to open up from it. Get a screwdriver in. See if I can convince it to open up. There we go. So, easy, gone. Right, top board, gold plate on there, okay, that's just rubber, and some gold pins on there, okay, so we'll keep that, and get rid of that, okay, just some low grade cable, nothing major on there, the battery, don't need that, so get rid of the plastic, and there's a tiniest little Phillips head screw there, so unscrew that. How are you getting on with your two? On the second one, are you?
Yeah.
So there's another Phillips head. So there's 4 Phillips head screws here, folks. Let's take them out quickly. But as expected, the board is covered with gold pins and gold plates, so we're definitely going to be keeping a hold of it. I'm going to get all the way through to the other end of plastic here, get everything separated, keep the LCD, again for spares, and then keep the boards for processing our cells. These screws do not want to come out easy. Does that work? No. I think the screwdriver's just the wrong. It's too much of a point on it, isn't there? Got to be better ways to spend a Friday afternoon, isn't there? And scrapping stuff like this up. Our office here is right across the road from the pub, and all we can see is people in there drinking, having a good time. We're over here scrapping stuff down. One day, yeah, Ben? One day.
One day.
One day. We'll get to do what normal people do. Okay, so we'll take this out of here. See that copper wire on the outside of the screen there? Seen that straight away. Right, so what have we got? Let's get rid of the plastic. A little bit of gold on the bottom of that thread there, so the ribbon, sorry. Buttons, get the buttons out of the way. Mylar on the back, so we'll keep the mylar, don't we? Get the silver processed off it. And then it's just the buttons and plastic after that, so I'll separate that with a screwdriver. And then take the mylar off, keep that, get rid of that. Don't need the buttons, don't need the plastic. Right, so we're left with this board now. Unclip that. This is almost some plastic clips. Unclip a board, I'll come to the screen in a minute. So as you can see, I'll just get rid of that plastic as well. Keep that plastic until we can cover all the pins. That's just a bit of metal, there's no gold in that. So we'll get all that pins off of there. We'll depopulate of all the pins and all the little gold bits. Can't remember the name of that just now as well, it's been so long since I've done any scrap up, I've forgotten the names of things. Okay, we'll scrap down everything we need off it and we'll process that board for gold recovery. The screen, as we've seen there, it's got a copper cable all the way around it. So we're definitely going to be wanting that, don't we, folks? So we'll get in there with a screwdriver. In there with a screwdriver, and it's soldered in. That's that. So, unroll that copper, get rid of that, and then I've got some copper cable in there as well. Copper cable on your screen? Oh, you're not there yet? That's the one you're doing just now.
The screen's there.
Aye, but there's copper cable on the outsides of it. I think it's that one you're doing there. Just roll that up. So it's like a deborsion cable from a CRT TV. So we'll keep the copper, and then the LCD screen. Take the back off it. Okay, there's gold on there, so we're actually going to, if it's not gold, we'll keep it for spares. If it is gold, we'd rather recover the gold and get rid of the screen. So that's that one done. I'll get rid of all this plastic. So as you can see, just like the old ones, quite useful stuff inside these old machines, folks. Okay. Well, new machines compared to old machines, but you know what I mean. Old machines are someday because I got rid of them. Cabling. Cables will get cut up, the ends will get cut off for gold recovery as well. All the ends will get checked for gold pins, and then we'll get them processed into the bins as well. Now, what we've got here, we've got this old handset. It's been handed in. I've not seen one of those in use in quite some time, to be honest with you. So, what I'm going to do is take a screwdriver to it. I don't see any screws. I don't see any washers to remove for screws. Unless, of course, they're underneath the keypad. Yep, there we go. So 2 screws under the keypad, and then under the names. Let's see if there's anything in here. No. So we'll take those 2 screws out. Will it fit this one? No, too big. We definitely need to invest in more screwdrivers, even though I just did. So, all this little odds and sods here. Make a good little scrap up video. We'll see what we get with these as well, all these old phones. Sometimes the old phones have lead bars in them for the weight. Sometimes they've got gold boards, sometimes they've got really low grade brown power boards and nothing much on them at all, apart from some low grade cables. But we'll find out. We will find out. So there we go. There's a lead I just mentioned. This one does have lead on it. So we've got lead in the workshop. We'll just add that down, melt it down into some lead ingots. And then if we ever need lead for any bars or alloys we make, we'll just melt it down into some pellets and use what we need. Heavy lead bar, which gives it its weight. Empty plastic. And then, as I said, it's either a good gold board or a really cheap brown board. So this is a cheap one. It's got a brass bit there where the speaker's at and diaphragm. And then just some very old capacitors and resistors and some low grade wire. Small IC chip. So nothing major there. We'll just recover the board. We'll put the board into the low grade pile for people to recover stuff off of. Because there is people that recover all these components and reuse them again. But that's for somebody else to do. I'm certainly not wasting time depopulating them. Take that off the speaker. Take this low grade board here, see what's on it. It's on the back of the button, see? It's stuck down, pretty solid. Get it out. There's actually gold on there. Underneath here there's some gold on all those corners. So definitely got to be keeping that. So take pliers, rip that board off. So keep that, it has got gold on it. And then keep the brass, keep the cabling, snap the cables off. Just a quick snip, cable goes in the cable bin. And then that little brass bit there. We've got a brass bin, we do melt our own brass down. So again, every little helps, another IC chip there. That'll just go, once you take the cable off it, which just goes into low grade bin, that just goes into low grade processing. So does a cable. Rubbish. And then the brass. It's glued down, so I'm going to have to, that's where I usually cut myself. I usually cut myself here with a screwdriver, but not today. So I'll just put that in the brass bin, and it'll get melted down with the brass. Take the glue off it, see? That'll come off the scum when we melt it down anyway. So that gets recovered, and that's it. So, oh no, it's not it, my bad. Cable, gold pins on the end, and then we'll cover the rest. And then we've got the speaker here, which is usually not much to them. Sometimes you get a tiny little bit of copper, little copper foil, little brass ring again, but usually nothing much on them apart from a magnet and a little bit of metal for the speaker. We don't go to extremes stripping down speakers. We get them in quite a lot and all the stuff was scrapped down. But it's nothing we really deal with a lot of. Okay, so the speaker's there. Once we crack that open, you'll just get a tiny little bit of copper and a tiny little brass, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Right, we've got a handset here, so take the washer out. Slightly newer one, it's off an old BT phone, but we don't seem to have this phone for it. So we'll undo the screws, definitely got some gold pins there. So undo that, crack it open. screwdriver again, tease it open, hopefully. There we go. Again, ferrous, iron ferrite for the weight, low grade cables and a speaker. That's it. So again, some gold pins to be recovered from in there, see? But that is it. Low grade cables and gold pins. Nothing else for us in there. So we'll keep that and we'll bin that. I'm guessing this will be much and such the same. So we'll take out that, see if there's any screws. Yep, one screw there. Take out that screw. I'll give you the screwdriver in a second, Ben. I'll just beat you to the punch there. There you go.
That.
And then again, straight head screwdriver in there to tease it open. Now we could clean these phones up and put them up for sale, but people want more digital phones now. They want newer phones. These never tend to resell. There's a bit of lead in there, so we'll get the lead and we will get the low grade cables. There's a metal washer there, it just fell down, nothing major. So cables, copper cables, there's a speaker, copper cables, gold pins to recover, and then there's lead in there. So just snap that, try and get the lead out. You can tell it's like soft metal, it's just coming away with a screwdriver. So I'm just going to snap the plastic and try and tease that lead out of there. It's already bending. You can see how easy it is to break it up. So there you go, it's glued in at the bottom. So we'll just put that in with the lead pile and melt it down into lead ingot along with the lead. Heavy metal along with the lead, and also when we're melting that, because it's not nauseous, we'll make sure we wear masks and PPE. Now the phone itself, got 1, 2, 4 Phillips head screws that I can see. So I'll try and get into them with a screwdriver here. Here we go. I'm guessing this might be some low grade cable in there. Hit the screw bin. Hit the screw bin. Screw bin. And of course, screw bin. Now we know we've got gold pins. Okay, so we know we're going to have gold pins. There's 2 bits of lead there as well. Low grade boards. And then just, that's it. Low grade cables, low grade boards, lead and gold pins. So, pull them out. A little bit of force there. Take out the lead, it's screwed in place. So that lead will just melt straight down. Every time we're melting copper or brass, we just leave a little ingot on top of the furnace with lead in it, and it just melts down. It's got a very, very, very low melting point. And top of my head, guys, I can't remember it, so I'm not going to lie to you. I can't remember what the melting point of lead is, but I know it's quite low compared to other metals. Feel free to comment what it is. Okay. We just put the ingot on top of the furnace, put the lead in, and it all melts down. There'll be a bit of brass bit in there, much like that. So quickly take that out of there, get the brass out of it. Tiny little bits of brass, folks, but they do mount up, and that's where you get your weight from. Okay, don't just chuck away these tiny little bits of copper and brass. If you're recovering, if you're recycling, you're doing your recovery yourself, it does mount up. So if you're starting off, you might think, oh, it's taking ages, but it'll soon mount up. Currently we've got 5 or 6 bins of copper at workshop, don't we, Ben?
Something like that.
We can't get enough time to go through it all. I've got at least a whole bin, a whole proper dustbin size full of brass, don't we? If not more.
Yeah.
We just need time to go through it all. Ah, aluminium. It's usually brass, but that's just a cheap aluminium one, so that was a waste of effort. But the cables are going to low grade bin. Plastic, we can't recover that. ABS plastic. Says there, ABS mold, we can't do nothing with that. So, that's a cover. Okay. What's that? Little silver contact in there. Okay. Low grade board IC chip. So we'll pull that off of there. It doesn't want to pull off, so we'll snip them off of there. we'll get the gold pins out of there, and then that will just go to recycling. We'll get that sent to somebody for recycling and plastic in the bin. One more thing to scrap down for you is, me and Ben's got identical piles here, so he's just working through exactly the same things I'm working through. Got this. Instead of having one of these though, Ben's got a router. So, there you go. See, Ben's just going to be taking a router apart. Allows us to get the videos done and stuff scrapped up all at the same time. Okay, so a couple of side screws, take them out. Okay, that was easy, nice and simple, and that's a good board. I like that. Small, but good. Whack that off of there. Little speaker cover. It's just a speaker. Get rid of it. Okay. So there you go. Some nice chips on there, some gold pins on there, copper recovery there. Now if we take this off, all you got to do to take that off is undo the bolts. Yeah, loosen those bolts, it'll all unscrew. It's the same bolts you get in a VGA connector. Okay, they're very common. Unscrew those. The cover will just come off, a little bit of help. And as you can see inside there, gold pins. Nice quality gold pins for recovery. Okay. So that's something we'll do ourselves. Okay, it's a nice little board, we'll do it ourselves. We'll take all the chips off and we'll process that ourselves. So that's it done, guys. Okay, odds and sods, phones, old tech, new tech compared to old tech in the last video. You've seen what's inside them. We'll get all the bits sent to recovery. We'll recover the bits ourselves that we're recovering, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for viewing, guys.